So this has been kind of my thing lately. It's just get on, show a video, express my concern, and hope others share in my concern and understand what I'm showing you is not in hatred or bigotry, or it's in love of my country, or love of my countrymen. And my countrymen are black and brown and all the beautiful colors of our goddamn skin color. Okay? So it's nothing to do with race. I need that to be. Okay? Oh, and I love women too. Okay? In fact, we love women so much that we work next to them. We interact. We interact so much that when my wife says, "Babe, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think?" I trust you. Like, if you truly want to know what I say, here, I'll tell you what I think, but I truly trust whatever you think. Be gone, woman. Do your thing. Like, I think it's, people are getting so lost in the sauce. The people like me, we trust our women, right? We grew up with wonderfully competent grandmothers, mothers. We love our sisters. All of that. This is all in love. Notice I didn't say I hate these people. All in love. Okay. So now that how long has this been? That was 1 minute and 45 seconds of I don't hate. Okay. So now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. This is my favorite YouTuber of all time. He goes as Sargon of Akkad, but his name is Carl Benjamin, and he is so smart. Like, I want to just steal this entire video, but I'm gonna try. But he makes such good points, and he does not stop talking, and that's not a bad thing. This man's run-on sentences are so beautifully eloquent. I wish I could take more. But I'm not going to. I'm going to be very, very kind and cautious and say, give him all the love in the world and say, bruh, I don't even got no followers. Don't sue me. I love your content. And I'm with you. I agree wholeheartedly. Okay, now that all of this is over, let's get into the video, shall we? Jesus Christ.
Dude, of the government and the activist class is pure hatred and resentment against anyone who has done well, anyone who's worked hard, been successful, built something out of nothing, and is entitled to the fruits of their own labour. Resentment against those people. And so this equalitarian principle that is the ruling principle of our country, bar none, determines that the government has to start taxing the shit out of everyone. Like, I hate to think how much tax I'm gonna pay next year. I'm not even that high an earner, and I know my taxes are gonna be fucking brutal. And yet it's coming. Like a train coming down the train track. You can see.
Okay, so I'll just set this up by saying I'm gonna interrupt a couple times just to interject of the American, right? Because he's specifically talking about what's going on in Britain right now. The national, if you were born British, British, eh? Cup of tea. If you were born like that, you are more likely to be leaving right now than you are to be creating a business in Manchester or wherever the fuck you people live. You know what I mean? So, like, you are far more likely to be going, oh, am I going to be going to America? We're glad to have you, by the way. Lord knows we got everybody else. We'd be glad to have some good Brits. You know what I mean? Anyways, Australia, New Zealand, you name it. But notice they're not going to Iraq or Palestine, or they're going to majority white Christian nations. So again, I'm just interrupting to kind of give the American, low educational point of view. Continue, brother.
You know it's going to hit you, and you just think half the year basically, at least somewhere between about 3rd and 40% of the year, you're basically working for the government.
That's
But
insane.
working for the government is
Insane.
a fucking slave. That's how this feels, and that's what this is causing. People are fleeing the country because they're not stupid. They know that there are countries where actually 40-45% of your earnings are not taxed by the government. Like,
We're gonna just one more stop. I'm not even gonna make myself big for this one. New York City elected a socialist mayor. What happened? An exodus of people going to Florida and Texas. We have the data. It's not propaganda. We have the fucking data. Anyway, sorry, buddy. Keep going.
literally, we covered it on the podcast the other day. The government spends 45% of all of the money that's earned in this country. The government spends it. We are getting fucked by the government on a daily basis. And 250,000 people a year are like, you know what, I don't fancy getting fucked by the government every day. I'm actually not up for that. And this is becoming a massive fucking problem because this is not the parasite class who are leaving. It is not the
No.
53% who are on benefits
No.
or get more from the government than they pay in tax.
Of course not.
Because why would they? They're the ones who are making out like bandits out of this situation. They're the ones who are becoming dependent on those people who are working hard. And
I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna give this motherfucker mad credit. I've been following him since. I wish I could put this into perspective. I am chronically online. Okay, so when I say I've been following him for a long time, when I first heard of Sargon of Akkad, I was getting into my Richard Dawkins and phase of really going after the Christians and really my staunch atheism and that's almost 20 years ago. So I have 20 years of watching this man. I can tell you that he's not saying I hate black people. There's all of this passion that you hear. Let's be honest, it's passion is coming from being on the front lines, being in, Britain's not that fucking big. I mean, I'm an American. I'm from Buffalo, okay? So I go out maybe 90 miles outside of my home base somewhat regularly. Do I go outside of that 90 miles ever? No. Almost ever. My traveling is maybe within 30 miles. I consider myself lucky for that. Everything I want and need is right here, okay? But I'm not your typical American. Your typical American travels 50 miles for work. Or their commute. So, and America's so big. So big. I've only seen 4 states out of 50. And I'm 36 years old. And I'm not destitute in living out of a can. We can go to Pennsylvania tomorrow if we want, but it's just, it's one of those things where it's not that a priority for me. I'm getting lost in the sauce, but the whole point is Britain is so small that this dude can't just go, oh, I'm from Buffalo, okay, so I don't like what's going on in Buffalo. I'm gonna go to Kansas. That's an entire new world. If I was to go to Kansas right now, I would know nobody. I would know nothing. The culture would be different. They would speak English, but the slang would be different. There would be different meanings for things. Maybe I would wear clothing that culturally wouldn't be permissive in Kansas where it was in Buffalo. It's incredible, and that's in a goddamn constraints of America, right? So he can't do that. He can't go from coast. It's going to be the exact same in this tiny little geographical area. So I fully embrace his anger in this. Because it's anger, but it's passionate anger.
he's succeeding. And so this is dangerous brain drain, and these people are just leaving. They're just leaving. Like Shabana Mahmood's crackdown on asylum seekers is mostly, I think, about money. I think it's mostly about how can we save money in the system. Because they can't just bring themselves to make benefit cuts. Because that's what's going to happen, right? It is going to have to be that we stop giving people so much benefits. It's just where it has to be. It can't be that we give notability cars, like fancy cars, to people with autism or nervous dispositions or whatever they were doing. That has to stop. It can't be.
By the way, I never heard of this, and that's insane. I have multiple sclerosis. I have an actual disability, like on the things where you answer, do you have cancer? Do you have this? Do you have MS? Do you have like I have one of the top 5 diseases. Do you think the government? I've gotten rejected for the 2nd time. Yeah, I get nothing, and I'm actually on books disabled. Insane. And these people are talking about you can get a car if you're neurodivergent. We're all fucking neuro. Let me stop. I'm gonna be like him in a second.
But 53% of the country are taking more from the government than they put in.
Mm.
Like, sorry, I've got anxiety. Too bad.
Right.
That's too fucking bad, man.
Right.
You're not entitled to anything from the government. There's not a disability just because you have anxiety. You're just going to have to get over it. I'm afraid that's just, like all of these petty things are like, well, a guy's got mild autism or ADHD or whatever. So I'm sorry, that's the case. But you still got to get on with your lives. Like, this is just...
There's a difference between empathetic and sympathetic and harming society to help. You can harm by helping. I know it's a paradoxical thought, but it happens all the time. All the time. Use me, for example. Former drug addict. Let's go back 10 years. 10 years ago, I was downing 20s. So 20s are pretty high potent opiates. I was downing 20s like water. Like goddamn Flintstone vitamins. If somebody had come to me and was like, Sean, here's extra money per month because you have a disease. You're an addict. Me, at the time, shit. Oh, you're going to give me money because I'm harming myself because I have a disease. That if I had never touched the drug to begin with, I wouldn't have this disease. But no. Fuck all that. Right now, you have this disease, so we're going to give you money. That would have put me in a grave. I would have died. Right? By the way, I have really bad anxiety now. Now that I'm like sober and recovered and all, I have really bad anxiety. You know what that is? That is the tax for being numb for 15 years. I'm paying earthly tax for numbing my fucking self for so long. That's a Suboxone strip, okay? I have to be very, very careful and moderate, but that saved my life. Now, if somebody were to come to me and say, Sean, you have a disease, you are an addict, we can give you money per month. As much as I would love that, I don't consider my disease to be, my disease is my problem, right? It's not for anybody else to worry about. It's my problem. Now, let's be honest. My sister has cerebral palsy. Completely different. She has to be taken care of. She cannot live independently. Just not even an option. Just cannot happen. So, I have a disease. She has a disease. Which one is worse? Come on, son. I know that was a squirrel, but it's insane. And he's absolutely right. The people that are draining, taking all the resources and the fun, living in hotels, 5-star hotels that me and you would never be able to afford. They're being put up in these places because they're asylum seekers. What are they running from? Well, they're being told to say they're running from their government. What they're really doing is coming for American opportunities. That, let's be honest, as an American, I don't even get anymore. Just very sad. So, this is a British case study of my man Carl Benjamin over here, Sargon of Akkad, really laying the fucking belt to what's happening. But it's a 1-to-1 comparison for here. We had 20 million undocumented over the last 5 years pour into these borders. They had like 1 million, 4 million, you know what I mean? But it's scalable. All of it is very, very scalable. And had Trump not been elected, had Camilla gotten in his maw, we would be. I don't. I don't think people want to think about where we would be if Kamala fucking Harris was. Anyway, let me stop. Let's go ahead.
Just have a nation of government dependence that has chased off all of the people you're expecting to pay for the welfare state.
Socialism.
I'm so sick of the welfare state now. I'm so sick of how much money we have to spend. But anyway, right, somewhere in here, it points out that hey, there we go. The British Medical Association was very concerned about the UK's ability to keep doctors in the country. Apparently 4,000 doctors left the UK, so they're born, raised and trained in the UK, and they just leave to go elsewhere. Because actually being a British doctor is a useful thing. It means...
That's insane. We all heard that. Me and the 4 people who are going to watch this heard that. 4,000 doctors, born and raised and learned in Britain. Equate that to dollars. That is umpteen millions of dollars. Because we all know how much it takes to raise a child from 0 to 18, blah, blah, blah. And now add schooling, and now add big band, now add, the economical reason. Okay, so you're a doctor, you're making good money. You're probably going to frequent a coffee shop every day on your way to work and blah, blah. You're creating this economy. And now, bye-bye. Bye-bye. 4,000 high-paying jobs dipping it. And where are they going? Probably to America. Probably to Australia. Probably to name Western country here. So, damn, son, 4,000.
The standards you were trained to were high. You are not a Nigerian doctor. You're not a Ugandan doctor. You're not from a country that's intrinsically corrupt, that will just allow people to bullshit their way through their degrees. Like, we have standards, we hold to them. And so, yeah, you're going to get paid well overseas. And, of course, we've learned that 16,000 millionaires are leaving or have left because of the tax changes, because people are like, look, man, I actually think I deserve the things I earned. I worked really hard to get what I have, and I deserve to keep some of it. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have some sort of protections against predatory billionaire capitalism, blah, blah, blah. Gary Stevens. Right? But this is not what that's about. This is about people who should be our sort of upper middle class and who should be very, very comfortable in this country with the amount of they've worked, with the amount they've earned, the amount they've saved, and the property they should be able to buy, are fucking fleeing this country like rats fleeing a ship that is sinking. That's
1-to-1 comparison with New York City, and he's not even been elected in as goddamn mayor.
What's happening? And we are replacing the high quality, high human capital people of this country with foreign parasites, dependents, people who cost more than they bring in every case, and just as a general class of people. Like, people from outside of Europe and the United States and the Anglosphere are basically not worth having as immigrants. They are costing the exchequer money every year. And we know this from Denmark and from Holland, who have done long-term studies on the amount of money that the non-European, just to summarise, immigrants bring in and cost. Some East Asian countries are worth having, but mostly it is just EU and Northwest.
Has anybody heard of these Denmark and Holland studies that he's referencing? He's an extremely smart man, so I'm certain they exist. But why haven't we heard of these amazing studies that prove the opposite of what our government? Oh wait, never mind.
Hemisphere people who are worth having, and outside of that, it is just a deficit to the amount of money that we make nationally, and it can't continue. It just can't continue. I mean, at this point, 1 in 4 British people are either actively planning or are seriously considering emigrating. A quarter of the young people. I mean, are we mad? Are we literally mad? To pay for boomer pensions, the richest cohort.
They're racist. That's got to be it. 1 in 4 of them are just racist.
In the country. Are we literally mad? I think we actually might be. Right? We actually might literally be mad and are actually heaping up the funeral pyre of our own country. And this is just good for everyone else. America and Australia and Dubai, this is actually a Washington Post.
Yeah, we'll take you.
Archive.
Come on over. Come on over.
This is good for all of those countries. Huge numbers of talented, educated, hard-working, upwardly mobile British people are leaving. And so they're like, brilliant. These are the best kinds of immigrants. Like, these are the immigrants who are going to come here, make a business, or do really well, work hard, pay lots of taxes, be model citizens, and this is a win for every other country but us. But this is a massive L for us. And frankly, and I agree with the Telegraph here. Look, this record-breaking drain break is the death of Britain. This is true. This is absolutely true. We are replacing the high status, high intelligence, high earning population of this country with fucking chancers, grifters, foreigners who are just going to come in and suck up as much welfare as they can until the system finally goes under.
Okay, I think I've stolen more than enough of his video. He's made just a fantastic point. Let's circle this back to America, because very, very similar things happening. We can count them on more than two hands now. We got the state of Minnesota. I mean, how many places in Minnesota are just, let's say, they don't speak English anymore. In places in Minnesota, most white people don't even want to live in Minnesota. It's cold as fuck. How? Do they, you know what? We know the answer, right? They were resettled there. We have, in Buffalo, I always get this wrong. I want to say it's Burmese. We have a significant Burmese immigrant population, and no hatred against Burmese people, but very, very, very prevalent on the east side. And it was just like, over 10 years, it just, bang, there was a ton of Burmese people. And we can keep going with the Muslim and this, that, and the next. And I have no issues. I've worked with Mohammeds and Lukmans and, cool people. If you're a guy, they're cool people. If you're a woman, nah. There's some stories. Fuck it. Story time. Working. This is about 10 years ago. No, oh my god, this is 20 years ago now. I'm working with a dude. I swear to God, and I can say his name because it's literally the most common name in the entire world. Muhammad. Say it however many times you want, and that's his name. That was his name. Really cool dude. Would give you bread, cheap, you know what I mean? Was extremely generous. We worked with his brother. His brother was a little more sinister, a little more low down. Well, come to find out that my man was just as low down, but he was able to hide it better. Tell me why he was with a girl, and when I say girl, she was a woman, right? She's a grown woman. We're with her probably 4 years. We'll say 3 or 4 years. She's thinking they're gonna get married soon. It's going down. Tell me why that year he said deuces, heads back to the homeland, gets married to somebody his parents had pre-selected. He knew this was going to happen. He's just getting his dick wet. He was playing. And that's one person, that's one anecdotal story, so please don't come at me. But how many one anecdotals can make up a pile of data that you can then stereotype? Because that's how stereotypes work, right? I've eaten a lot of white people's food, and yes, it's a little unseasoned. So, stereotype proven. My point, I'm not a very high earner. I maybe make 30 grand a year. My wife actually makes like 55. So together, as a husband and wife, we make sub 100,000 a year. You got some bitches on TikTok. I won't even talk to a man unless he makes over 100,000. Well, you are fucked, my dear. But secondly, so there's a crazy dichotomy of what is actually success and what is perceived success, and I have a strong feeling that the people who are soapboxing and virtue signaling how good rampant mass immigration is probably lives in a very comfortable how should I put this, with neighbors that probably look like them. Mar-a-Lago, for instance, this is a real world example that happened within the last 2 years. Sanctuary cities, New York, places in Minnesota, Illinois, you name it, there's a ton of sanctuary cities. They said, fuck it, we're gonna send a bus of these motherfuckers to Mar-a-Lago. One of the just rich and white. That's what it is, rich and white. Tell me why they were there no more than 72 hours, and they were packed up and gone. And the people they were interviewing go, we want to help anywhere but here. They don't care. They don't care. They just want to virtue signal. So the people who actually have power know this. They know that the influential people with money are stupid. Let's be honest. So the people with power manipulate people with money who own media companies, who then shout the message in movies, music, advertisements. Bang. And that is how you brainwash a society. And that is why decentralized media is the best form of media. That's why even if nobody watches this, it's out there. It's out there for people to click on. The marketplace of ideas is so needed. It's so needed. That's why, you know what? Go ahead, elect your socialists in Seattle and New York City, 2 major powerhouse economic. No, not anymore. Seattle is fucked. We already know that, and New York City is not far behind. So, good video, man. Good video. Wow. And you're not racist for looking at rampant immigration going, how is this going to affect my child? You know? You're not. That's not to make you racist. You're still an okay person for that.